Joan is a nationally known speech-language pathologist, technology specialist, author, presenter, and mother of 4 young adults. That's a lot. After receiving her formal education at Northwestern University, she has spent the past 30 years helping others in hospitals, rehab centers, schools, and in homes. Over 25 years ago, Joan created Innovative Speech Therapy, a private practice in the DC area with a mission to help people of all ages who have neurogenic and developmental communication, cognitive, literacy, productivity, and learning challenges. She provides unique therapy, consultation, and training programs using affordable cutting-edge technologies. So with that, Joan, it's all you.
Well, thank you so much. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everyone hear and see me?
Yes.
Hopefully, great. Okay, and I want to remind everyone, thanks Judy, that I do encourage lots of chat and interaction. So what I want you to do is when you do participate in the chat, make sure to select all panelists and attendees so that your messages just don't go to us. And during the chat, go ahead and introduce yourselves. And then also, if I'm talking about something and you think that you have another idea of something you want to share, go ahead and share that, how you've used the tool that I'm talking about or something else that you found helpful. I've been going to so many of these Zoom sessions, and I like these webinars to be very interactive, and I often learn just as much from the participants as from the presenter. So I'm just going to share my own perspective, but there's so much more. This topic could be a week-long course. So let me go ahead and get started, but I do want to encourage you to close your extra tabs and really focus in for this hour. And I'm going to be sharing my handout with you. I'm going to tell you soon how you can access that, and we will get started. So let me just, I have a couple of monitors here open that I'm managing things on. All right. This is my contact information. I'd love to hear from you. So I'm very active on Facebook and LinkedIn, a little bit on Twitter, and I have a website and some groups. So today we're talking about seniors and how we can help seniors using technology. And as I think about this, I think that I've been into this for a really long time. I mean, probably 30 years. And technology has really evolved and developed, and I've been talking about it for a long time. But people were very resistant to using technology with seniors. And I would, share iPad apps and different computer software programs. And many people would say to me that, somebody's too old to benefit from the technology, or they're too old to learn something new. It's better to have in-person interaction and activities. And while some of that may be true in certain circumstances, I think that now everyone has just been pushed willingly or unwillingly into this world of technology, and a lot of people are struggling. So what I'm going to do today is share what I feel are the best tools and features and websites. And there's a lot that I want to share that I don't even have time for. So I'm just going to give you a glimpse and then hopefully some strategies for learning more. So the first thing we're going to talk about are, how can we be a detective and solve problems? And so that's my dog, Cody. I have 2 dogs, and I just love it when they cock their head, and I'll ask them a question and I'll get this response. And so that's how I want you to feel right now. What problems do we need to solve? So you can go ahead and type in the chat as I'm talking, what are your biggest problems that you're hoping to solve using technology? And what are your biggest obstacles? I'm just gonna carry on, but you all can have a separate conversation in there also. And I'll pause now and then and try to read some of these comments. And here's the way that you can immediately get access to a copy of my slides. If you take your smartphone and you text Tech for Seniors to the number 33777, you will just put in your name and email, and immediately you will be sent a copy of the slides. There'll be 6 slides per page, and you can print that out if you like. If you want 1 slide per page, you can email me. And if you aren't able to text, you can email me, and in the next day or so, I'll try to get you a copy of the slides. So when I was brainstorming the ways that I feel seniors need help managing, these are the main problems that came to my mind. Everyone is so isolated these days. People have hearing impairments, dexterity problems, vision problems, loneliness issues, lots of stress and anxiety, boredom, trouble with thinking and memory, and communication. And so these are the issues that I think about all the time, and I always have an eye out for affordable solutions that might be able to help. And technology just keeps getting better and better, and I feel that not enough professionals and family members know that many of these resources exist to help. So today we're going to learn about what's possible. And then I want to empower you to really focus on setting up the environment of the senior for success. And now it's more challenging than ever because often we can't see the people we're helping. We have to do it from a distance. It's much easier if you can sit beside somebody and help them. But there are a lot of tools now that from a distance, we can help also. So I'm going to talk about these areas. We're going to start with reading, then go to writing, speaking, understanding, fostering social closeness, looking for ways to help with brain fitness, entertainment, wellness, and getting things done. So, you know, me being a speech pathologist, these are the things that are within my scope of practice. And I also work a lot on daily functioning skills and how to help with cooking and ordering in food and shopping and things like that. But I think that more people are aware of the resources for those activities than they are what I'm going to show you. So I've prioritized showing you things that I think fewer people know about. This is my website. So I am here and I do webinars very often. I'm about to launch some online courses with step-by-step tutorials. And I also offer free 15-minute phone consultations. So if something really resonates with you or you have a question that I'm unable to respond to, please go ahead and reach out to me. I love to hear from people and it keeps me on my toes. So I do a few of these calls every day with people all over the world. And if I don't know the answer to something, I really try to figure it out for you. All right, do these look familiar? I think that most of us recognize all of these items and we don't really see these anymore. They have pretty much been replaced. An iPhone can probably handle all these things, or an Android phone, or these new tablets. It's pretty amazing what we have access to these days. And here are some more. So I get the feeling sometimes that we're in the world of the Jetsons, that animated TV show that was so popular when I was a child. And now, we have video phones at our disposal as long as we have current technology. There are many ways now that we can see people and speak to them from a distance, which was just unheard of not that long ago. The features that I want to highlight are made available due to universal design. And universal design is proactively creating new devices with lots of features so that people who have different needs and abilities can use and access the device. So while I remember when I used to set up, I had an assistive technology center back in the early 90s or mid 90s, And I was actually located at Somerville Assisted Living at Tuckerman and Seven Locks in Potomac, Maryland. And the Grows headquarters was right next door to me. And I used to provide their Wi-Fi access way back then. And I remember people used to come to see me, or some of the therapists in my practice. And I spent, I think, $1,000 to buy a touch screen. You know, everything, and voice recognition technology wasn't very good, and it was really expensive. And now, so many of the features that I paid a lot of money for in the past that weren't even as good are now already included on these devices thanks to universal design. So let me start. I'm not going to quote any research. I just want to get right into the good stuff. So first, we're going to talk about reading. As we age, a lot of people have trouble with reading, me included. I mean, you get the small text on a medicine bottle, or, you know, sometimes things are just difficult to read, or you have memory issues and can't retain the information as well. And so I encourage you to look at any device you're using, an iPhone, an Android phone, any tablet, any kind of computer, and you can customize the settings so that it will work for you in general, or at least know that it's there. So you're always looking for, like, the big A, little a might be a way to make things bigger or smaller. Sometimes you can take your phone and just sort of, you know, do a certain gesture and you'll make things bigger. And a lot of times things can be read out loud. So I, you know, really customize the view. And so Apple, Google, and Microsoft all have websites that you can go to that have video tutorials about accessibility. So I just want you to know that that's possible. If you happen to have an iPhone, I think statistics show that many more people have iPhones who are older than the Android phones. And so there's a built-in magnifier on all of your devices, and you can set it up. I created this graphic, and to enable it, what you do is you know, and if the senior can't do it, if someone else can do it for them, just this one piece of information can make a big difference. So when I used to, back in the day, go out to a restaurant with some friends and people had trouble reading the menu, I would say, oh, let me see your phone. And I would enable it, go to accessibility, the settings and accessibility, and turn on magnifier. And then all I would do is triple click the home button, and they can shine it on the menu and enlarge it. And so that's really a helpful little tip. Also, all devices nowadays can read out loud to you. So here's a little graphic that shows how to use an iDevice to read aloud for you. You have to go in and set it up first, but there's a way that you can then just press down. And some of these webinars I show step-by-step videos, but I have so much to share that I'm just going to tell you about them so that I can get through more information. But what you can do is you can make it so you hold down the text and then just press speak, and it will speak to you. Or you can swipe down with 2 fingers on the top. So every single computer, Windows is fantastic now. If you have Windows 8 or Windows 10, you can have text read aloud to you. If you're in the Google world and using Google Docs, you can have text read aloud to you. Macs, a Mac computer, if you enable it, you can select text and have all that read out loud to you. It gets a little bit more complicated when it's a PDF, but that's possible too. All right, let me just look and see if there are any questions. Yes, there are some.
So, Joe, there's questions, but there's a lot of comments about, you know, how can we use technology to decrease isolation? How can we use technology with individuals with dementia? How do we combat the fear of technology? How do we, you know, how do we address people with limited vision? How can technology help with isolation? How do we get over the fear of secured. People don't want to use their phones for banking or for anything because they're afraid their financial resources are at risk.
There are a lot of questions. I'm going to be getting to some of those through the presentation. And so I agree. I think that the fear is huge. The things that I'm talking about are, if we can set up the technology to make it easy to use and then bring people in wherever they are. And so I'll be talking about singing, looking at photos, having video chats. I mean, I'm going to be getting to all of that with, given that I have enough time, but I think you have to start somewhere. And if you pick up one or two pieces of information here and then just start small, I think that's how you get started. Those are big, good questions.
One more, how can we use technology to communicate with caregivers? Because some of my clients, they want a specific language speaker that we may or may not be able to help with, but can we use technology to make it an easier interaction?
Absolutely. And the Google Translate app is incredible. I didn't even include that here, but if you put an app on your smartphone, the Google Translate app, you can speak in one language and it will automatically translate and speak aloud in like 100 different languages. So that's a fantastic way to communicate with caregivers who don't speak the same language as you. Yeah, I mean, I could spend so long answering every one of those questions, but I really want to share different features and products that people might not know about, and then we can definitely engage in some conversation. And I hope that you guys try to answer those questions in chat also. Okay, let's talk about dictation. So every device now, Macs, PCs, tablets, phones, all of them have the ability to have you speak and have the text appear. Right now, I'm using Google Slides to present this, and you'll notice that I have captioning on and enabled, and it's just using artificial intelligence to turn my speech into text. And so there are tools for this in browsers, in Google Docs, in Word, in Microsoft Word. You can, wherever you can put your cursor and type, you can now speak. And that's not a perfect solution for people who are unable to speak clearly or who may have an accent that it doesn't recognize, or who have aphasia and have difficulty thinking of words. But for many people, this is a helpful solution. And as I'm presenting these solutions, there are a wide range of seniors. I know there's some seniors who will be watching this who are vibrant and, still working in their careers and want to become more efficient and learn more about what's possible with technology. And then there are individuals who may have dementia and their caregiver is watching this, and you're looking for ways that you can help that person. So dictation could be something that you use to give visual supports while you speak so that someone with aphasia or a cognitive impairment can process the information better. A person with receptive aphasia might not be able to understand the words spoken, but when they hear it and see it, it sinks in much better. So a lot of these features that are available to us for free can be used in different ways to help different people. And the tricky part is figuring out what the needs are of the person and then getting comfortable with these different features and in using them in a way to help the person. That's what I do. My entire practice is devoted toward helping professionals and families leverage the benefits of these technologies. It's not easy. There's a lot to know, but at least after this presentation, you might know more about what's possible. So this is just a slide showing how to access the voice typing. That's the dictation feature that's free and included in Google Docs. there are a lot of parents who are seniors that have kids in the schools that they want to help. And in schools and in businesses, you know, I work a lot with adults with developmental disabilities, and when they see voice typing, it is the coolest thing to watch them react and work on their verbal expressive skills, because they can see everything they say appear as text. So let's talk a little bit about speaking. So it's great when seniors can attend groups and then have the social interaction. And of course, that's everyone's preference, but right now that's not happening. And who knows when that's going to happen. So we have to look for alternatives. The most obvious alternative to speaking and interacting with people is on the phone. And that's what we're most used to. But whenever you can add a screen for visual supports, it becomes even more powerful. So every device now pretty much can you can have a video chat on. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. I think this slide's a little bit out of order, but let me just chat a little bit about cloud access and sharing. When we're talking about being productive and isolated, it becomes more and more important to be able to access information and share that information with other people. So if you have a senior, so let's say a senior that I know is going to be going to the doctor, I want to be able to type up a document or access medical history, or, you know, share something with that person so they can print it out and bring it with them to the doctor, and we can collaborate on the same document. So it's just, you know, or you go to the doctor and they ask you for something and you don't have it with you, you can go on your smartphone and open up your Google Drive or another cloud-based tool, OneDrive from Microsoft or Dropbox. There are a whole bunch of these, and access the information that you need. I wanted to talk about emergency information. Just everybody should really go onto their phone and make sure that they've accessed the health app or the medical ID that's on Apple devices. Android has a little different way to get to it, but make sure that there's a way for emergency responders to access your important information without logging into your phone. And if you can search for exactly how to do that, or when you get the handout, it's a PDF, so you could just click on these links where the line is, and it'll take you to instructions that will show you how to do that. All right, here's the video calls. These are the most popular ways to do video calls, and now more and more of them will enable group video chats. So I know in my family, we've been using Zoom calls for holidays and for different family events, and it's the best we can do with feeling that we're close to each other. FaceTime you can do between iPhones or iDevices. WhatsApp is very popular internationally. Facebook Messenger now, you can do video calls, Skype, there are a whole bunch. I might do a whole webinar just on different ways to have video calls. But I want to highlight this new product. It's called the GrandPad, and you can learn more about this at grandpad.net. I've been using this device for quite a while now. This is, it's a tablet. It's based on an Android tablet. I think the cost is about $200. But this is my go-to now for adults with developmental disabilities, or just seniors that have challenges so they can't use a mobile phone or, you know, a smartphone or a computer. It's just too complicated. So you can get this, it's $200 and it's $40 a month. And it's totally customizable from a distance. You don't need Wi-Fi. And it has games on it, it has photos on it, you can do email, you can make audio calls, video calls. It's protected so that whoever the family administrator is sets up the contacts with the appropriate information, and those contacts accept that connection. I can't think of the right word, but then it's really easy to just look for someone's picture and touch one button and initiate a video call or receive a video call. It's really great for certain people, and this is something that I've just learned about in the last year. Okay, let me stop. Are there any particular questions, Robin, that have come in?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I can see them. I can see them. So keeping passwords, that's the first one I see. For keeping passwords, I use, there are different websites. LastPass.com is a good way to do it. You can go to one password, I think, is another one. Or what I do sometimes to help people keep track of passwords is to have them enter the software or app name as a contact on their phone, and then in the notes to give themselves a strategy or a cue, not to write the exact password, but to write something so that they then know what the password is so that they can access it when they need it. That's the biggest challenge that I find when I'm helping families is logging into things.
It's not just the elderly, it's me.
Well, everybody. Yeah.
What was the website, and is it secure?
Yeah, the one I use is lastpass.com. Janet asks, hi Janet, asks how did you activate the closed captioning? Zoom will not allow you to activate automated closed captioning. There has to be somebody feeding in the words. What I'm using is the closed captioning feature on Google Slides, and PowerPoint will also do the same thing. When you're going into the presentation mode, there's a little CC that you just touch and it starts captioning automatically. And then I like the captions to appear at the top and in larger print, so I just customize that a little bit. Bree was talking about unsafe and compromising their security. Yeah, I mean, I know it's all a challenge. Using technology, you have to weigh the benefits and the risks. That's what this is. And so, maybe someone doesn't want to do online banking, but they're willing to participate in a Zoom call. I mean, so, there are ways to protect yourself a bit more with all of these things. That's a whole other conversation. But it's weighing balances and risks, weighing pros and cons, whatever. Could the GrandPad be a primary phone? Yeah, some people that I know do use it as a primary phone. Okay.
We also asked a client of mine is struggling with advanced macular degeneration and needs an app or other device to read the back of frozen food boxes.
Well, I use the Magnifier app on the phone. On the iPhone is what I generally use for that. There are other Magnifier apps that offer even more magnification. Let me chat a little bit about telemedicine. I know that a lot of people have been thrown into it and are experiencing frustration with it, but there are a lot of benefits to it too. You don't have to go out and get exposed. It saves a lot on transportation and time. It's much more convenient. It's not the answer to everything, but right now most seniors are actively engaged with telemedicine. And I know that in my experience, the logging in advance and the registration process can be very difficult. So for any providers out there, I've experienced the most success with Zoom, which when you get a certain level of account, it is HIPAA compliant. And I really like Doximity, because with Doximity, you can just send your patient a link on their smartphone and they touch the link and they're in the video call. And so that's the easiest method that I know about. The one problem with it is only you can't have a caregiver be in on the session also. But I just wanted to make sure, if there are seniors out there and you're arranging for telemedicine and you've had difficulty signing on, ask the practice, do you offer Zoom or Doximity as a platform? Let me talk for a minute about the Amazon Echo Show. I have a couple of them in the house. This is one of them. We use it all the time for music. It's great quality music. You can just say, I'm going to try not to use, I forgot to warn people, I'm not going to use the name Alexa because it might drive some of you crazy, because then she'll start listening. But you can, you know, say, play me. I don't even want to say anything. You can ask to listen to certain types of music. You can play Jeopardy. You can call people. We call my mother-in-law all the time now using the device. And I'll say her name and then say, call Lily. And then the device will say, do you want to call her Echo device? And then she'll get a call and she'll press a button and we can each see each other and talk to each other. And it's so easy to use. And if I am not at my device, you can just use the Alexa app on your smartphone, and you can use that to see each other and talk to each other. So that's a nice way if someone doesn't have a smartphone or doesn't have a computer, if they have that device, you can do video calls. And I would say this is my tool of choice for an individual who has dementia, is the Amazon Echo Show 8. I love it. And I don't sell any of these devices, and I don't get kickbacks from any providers. So this is all just my own opinion. These are some skills to explore. You know, you can listen to audiobooks, playing music, playing games, meditation. You can control lots of devices or appliances around the home if you have the appropriate setup. So go ahead and, you know, this time is just flying by, but if you use the Alexa app or an Echo Show, maybe you can share with each other different ways that you've been using them. Oh, Brian, I see you're on. Brian Friedlander is a real expert with Alexa, and you can also customize it so that you provide information about the individual or the senior community that you're in, and everybody in your senior community could be given one of these devices, and it could include the schedule, the menu for lunch and dinner or whatever. Oh, Margie, welcome. Can you listen to audiobooks with the regular Amazon Echo or just the Echo Show? You can listen. The only difference with the show is that it has a screen. And so I like having the screen because it's just so much more, it just adds a different dimension. But a lot of the things that are audio only, you can do with just the other devices that don't have the screen. Oh, Brian mentions you can use it as an intercom. Yeah, my kids will drop in and say, dinner's ready, you know, because we have a few of the devices. Okay, the next area is AAC, Augmentative and Alternative Communication. This is an entire field, and hopefully there's a speech pathologist involved if you're looking to augment communication. But I wanted to just make sure that people know there are apps now that are very affordable and that are appropriate for adults. Some have pictures, some have photos, some have icons, some have words if it's text-based. There are a lot of different choices, and so I'm happy to help anybody pick these out, or you can try to search for them. It used to be that you had to have an iPad to benefit from a lot of these, and now more and more are becoming available for Microsoft and Android devices, or standalone dedicated communication devices. This is a new one that is, I think, in beta, or they're trying to work with communities that have people on ventilators, and it's for people to communicate through video chat and by touching things to communicate from a distance. And so I think this has a lot of potential, and if in your world you're working with a lot of people who are on ventilators and who are alert enough to be able to communicate but they can't talk, maybe they're just trached, whatever, go to this site and learn about what they're offering, because it's really amazing. Okay, for understanding, There are a lot of individuals with dementia or hearing problems. That's a little bit different, but anything to help facilitate understanding and auditory processing, use as many visuals as you can. And our technology enables us to take videos, to take pictures, and to share those pictures to help with communication. Also writing keywords and using maps and calendars, anything visual is easily at our disposal when we have these devices in our pockets. And so we can use them to help people with dementia or aphasia or all kinds of problems. And then to help with comprehension, also captioning. You know, anytime you're on YouTube, that's the image on the right, you can select closed captioning, and many of those videos will start showing you the words. Most of our remotes that we use while watching TV have the ability to add the closed captioning. Google Meet, if any of you are in that world, that now too will use automatic artificial intelligence to type out the words that it hears. So sometimes you need to have professionals typing to see the captions, but now more and more there are automated ways of doing it. And seniors also, we all have issues with memory and organization. So that can be digital or digitally based or not digitally based. You know, when I help people, I look at their desktop and I help look at their Google Drive or their files and documents and help them organize it and come up with a system. But we can also use a lot of tools such as calendars and reminders and notifications to help when we have to remember to do something or to be somewhere. So when I'm working with families of all ages, I always start with a digital calendar. And, you know, I work with elementary age kids, and I never think it's too young. You can have, my tool of choice is the Google Calendar, but if people want to use a different digital calendar, that's okay too, to really plan ahead so that you don't forget to do things, to look back and make sure that it represents what you did do, so that if you can't remember when you saw the orthopedist or the dentist, you can just search for that information and it's right there at your fingertips. And then when you create an event, you can put in the items that you want to remember to bring, or you could put the names of the people that will be at that event. You know, anything that's going to help you be more independent and functional. And then with Google, what I like is everything ties together with some of the other apps that you might use that are Google apps. So that's a whole other story. And I, from time to time, offer a course called G Suite for all. And that goes over Google Keep, Google Docs, Google Maps, you know, Google Drive. And so these tools are always available to you from any device for free. Reminders and timers, you know, when I know I'm sort of known for when I'm cooking a big meal, I'll have multiple timers going. And I used to put little sticky notes on different timers so I could remember what they're for. But now I can use my ALEXA device and say, I'll say her name, and then I'll say, set the turkey timer for 5 o'clock, or remind me in 10 minutes to turn down the oven, you know, whatever. I can have 10 timers going at once, or reminders to take medicine, or reminders of when to leave to be on time. All of our phones have it also. You can go in the clock app and there's there are timers in there. And you can also have reminders and notifications on all of these, so many of these apps, like to-do apps. Like I have Google Keep here, has location-based reminders. So maybe you don't know when you're going to be seeing a doctor, but you have a bunch of questions that you want to ask the doctor when you go. You could set up your list of questions with a GPS-based reminder with that doctor's office location. So whenever you happen to be there, it just shows up for you. Okay. And then a lot of people do go a little bit crazy with all of their tech and notifications and distractions and wasting time. I mean, there are a lot of problems with tech too, and people get addicted to it and they ignore doing what they need to do. I mean, so it's not all good. And when I give help to people for executive functioning or productivity, one of the mantras I try to get them to say to themselves a lot is that they're in control. The technology should not control you, you control the technology. So just like we don't have to answer a phone call when it rings, we are in control of our tech, and we can decide which notifications we want to use. And we can put on do not disturb on all of our devices, and maybe put, you know, we can control it. You just have to realize that you can control it and look in the settings and figure it out. So, you know, on the phones, all you can do is swipe up from the bottom and press the little moon. And if you want to take a nap, you won't get disturbed. I'm almost done, and then I'll take questions. There are lots of online games that can be good for engagement. So while I usually talk about, and I've done a number of webinars on what you can do with tablets and the different games that you can play for cognitive stimulation and specific skill training. There are lots of games that now that you can play online with other people in real time and feel that you're connecting with them. So these are two sites that you might like look into to figure that out. Oh, okay, let me go back. All right, so, and then I want to point out these, you know, a lot of this, I'm sharing these ideas with you, and you're sharing with each other, and all of this keeps changing. So just when you figure something out, there'll be something else that's available, or something that you loved will no longer work. So it can get infuriating. But all I can do is caution you to keep on learning. And I mean, I just love it when I figure out something new and I try it and it works. So actually this way that you can send a text and get an automatic instant copy of my handout, that's something new that I saw somebody else do. And then I'm trying it now to see if it works and how you all like it. And how I asked the person what she used, and then I looked it up on YouTube, or you can do a Google search and search for videos, or you can look something up on WikiHow, which is a great app and website, and that sort of simplifies things for you. And both of these, there are a lot of people inputting information that make it easier to understand, and there are lots of visuals. Okay. If you're trying to help someone or you need help, a lot of people don't realize about this, that there's this hidden feature in Zoom, which can be enormously helpful in certain situations. And that's remote, I think it's called remote control. I don't think it's called remote access. I think it's remote control. And so what you can do is if let's say I help people a lot with computers, so I'll set up a Zoom session with them. And then as long as they're on a PC or a Mac, they can share their screen and give me, I can request remote control and they can grant me the remote control. And then I can use my cursor to change things on their computer and set things up for them, perhaps enable some features. So that's something that can come in real handy. And so much more. I'm pretty much out of time, but you know, these are the other areas that you can explore using all the smart assistants, you know, getting Cortana, Siri, Alexa to schedule appointments on your phone. Lots of singing. I really like the SingFit app. That's something good for people with dementia or verbal apraxia. It's music therapy where you can see somebody's lips moving and you practice singing, and it's a fantastic app. Tactus therapy and constant therapy apps are very good for rehabilitation and working on word retrieval and some simple games. There are different ways to track things, track locations of things or people, environmental controls. You know, there's a lot, but I think I could only share so much. Again, this is how to get a copy of this handout. You can just take your phone and text Tech for Seniors to the number 33777, and you will receive a copy of this. Or you can always email me at joan@innovativespeech.com and I'll send them to you. And if you email me, let me know if you want 1 slide per page or 6. Here are some upcoming opportunities. I'm about to launch, probably at the very beginning of July, a 30-day tech savvy challenge that I think will cost $3 a day. And that's to help people get up and running with video tutorials and just a streamlined approach and a framework I use with lots of my clients to help them become more tech savvy. And then I also offer lots of professional development if you're interested, and free 15-minute phone chats, and online one-on-one therapy and tech coaching. So I'm here for you.
So,
That's it. Let me see if there are any other questions or comments.
there's a few more questions. I have a question.
Okay.
And this is not for seniors, this is for business. How can you set up, are there any tools outside of Google Docs that you can set up shared files?
I mean, Microsoft. I mean, all the big, Microsoft is very popular with businesses if you don't want to go the Google route.
So you can set up files that everybody in your office can access?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, so.
And if there's anybody out in, that's watching this that specializes in helping businesses set up this type of opportunity for your practice, feel free to advertise your services, because there are people, business development folks, that specialize in this.
Thank you. We've got a lot of problems with senior scams. And, as more and more seniors get comfortable with technology, how do we get people to identify when they're getting scammed?
I mean, I think there are a lot of people that talk about that, and I think it's through education. And so knowing when you can click on something and when you can't. I think that if I just don't even answer my phone anymore unless I know who's calling. And I don't respond to emails anymore unless I might go through the back door and check out the domain and see if it's legitimate, or if there's something that looks like it's from the IRS or a bank, I'll contact the bank or the IRS. I just initiate what I need to do and try not to respond to anything if there's any doubt. I think it's all through education.
What health app is a good one?
It depends what you want to do in terms of health. I mean, I think that I know the iPhone has a health app in it. There's so many health apps. I guess I don't know what, there are apps for yoga. There's Yoga with Adrian that's really great that my kids love. There are lots of exercise apps. There are apps to help you remember to take medicine. That's a really broad question. If anybody out in the audience can recommend some health apps that they like, perhaps that would be good.
I just use the one on the iPhone.
Yeah. Oh, someone recommended Bear Technology for office or personal tech issues. Susan Bear was the one that set me up ages ago with AOL in the early 90s. I mean, she's had a business for a long time. She's based in DC and right now is providing online support.
Okay. So I don't see any other questions. This has been fabulous. I've taken so many notes because there's a lot of stuff I didn't know. My kids always look at me and they're like, what do you mean you don't know how to do that? I'm like, here, take the phone.
Well, it's very difficult and it's hard to know what you don't know. I didn't even mention, I have a website, theymaynotknow.com. And I've been offering free webinars every month until, I think my last one was in November. And every month I was just offering a webinar like this on a particular topic, because how do you know what you don't know? I mean, that's the first step. You have to be exposed to the information to even know to figure it out. And so I tend to learn about things because I watch so many webinars and I love to explore this stuff. It's become sort of a hobby for me, and I'm part of lots of groups. So I encourage people to join LinkedIn groups and Facebook groups. I have a group called IST Tech Savvy Solutions that everyone is welcome to join, and it's in the handout. You know, it's just hard. It's hard to do this on your own. So you have to team up with somebody and try to figure this out together, or you can sign up for a course. It's constantly changing, and it seems that the rate of change is getting faster and faster. And while some people don't even want to start figuring it out, you really get left behind in society if you don't know what's possible.
Right.
So while I used to try to talk to groups of seniors and felt enormous resistance in the past when I would want to talk about technology, now I've had so many businesses and organizations approach me that want me to present on this because they're desperate to learn this information, and it's hard and overwhelming on your own.
Yeah. No, this was really fabulous. You know, thank you for your time. I thank everybody for attending again. You know, even though we can't see each other, reach out to one another. Make it a challenge to reach out to one or two people within the GROWS community this week to stay connected. We may not be able to see each other, but we're still very much a community that supports one another. Again, make sure you like us on Facebook. So every other week, we will be doing networking, and then every other week's a presentation. So next week, we're going to have Zoom at noon. So please mark your calendars, sign up for next week's marketing event. And don't forget to keep GROWS going. Donate today. Thank you all. We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.